Whispers of the Ancients, Episode 10, The Persian Achaemenid Empire c. 550 to 330 BCE, Iran. Before Alexander marched eastward with fire in his eyes, before Rome sculpted its marble dreams, there stood an empire vast as the horizon, a land not ruled by the sword alone, but by the word, by law, by divine order. It began not with thunder, but with a whisper rising from the Persian highlands. A man of noble blood and boundless vision, Cyrus the Great, would gather the scattered stars of tribes and kingdoms and bind them into a constellation of power called the Achaemenid Empire, stretching from the Indus to the Aegean, from the sands of Egypt to the peaks of the Caucasus. This was the first true superpower, a tapestry of peoples, languages, and gods, woven together under a single crown. Here, let us walk the golden roads, pass through gates of stone, and listen to the voices etched in cuneiform and carved on cliffs, the voices of immortals. 1. Birth from the mountains, rise of the Persians. In the rugged lands of Parsa, surrounded by mountains and myths, the Persian tribes lived in relative obscurity, vassals of the mighty Median kingdom. But in the 6th century BCE, a man named Cyrus, son of Cambyses, changed the rhythm of history. Born of both Median and Persian blood, he united his people, not by tyranny, but through charisma and vision. In 550 BCE, he turned against his Median overlords, toppling their king, Astyages, and forging a new power, the Achaemenid dynasty, named after his ancestor Achaemens. From there, he marched outward, not in blind conquest, but with a strategy of tolerance and diplomacy unseen in the ancient world. Point 2. Conquest and compassion. Cyrus the Great. Cyrus did not just conquer, he liberated. When he entered Babylon in 539 BCE, he did not burn, pillage, or enslave. He walked in peace, welcomed by priests and peoples alike. In the Cyrus cylinder, etched in Akkadian, he proclaimed rights to those he ruled, freedom of worship, restoration of temples, and respect for traditions. To the Jews exiled in Babylon, he was a Messiah, the anointed one who allowed them to return to Jerusalem. This was no ordinary conqueror. This was Cyrus the Great, a man whose tomb in Pasargadae still stands, modest yet immortal. Even his enemies, the Greeks, called him the most just of kings. 3. The shape of an empire, organization and order. An empire as vast as the sky cannot survive on brute force. Cyrus laid the foundations, but it was Darius I, the Great, who sculpted the bones of the Achaemenid state. He divided the empire into satrapies, provinces ruled by governors, each accountable to the King of Kings. He created a royal road system stretching over 2,500 kilometers, where mounted couriers could cross the empire in days. He minted standard coinage, the gold daric, and implemented consistent laws and taxes. From India to Lydia, the Persians ruled not with chaos, but with structure, a blend of local autonomy and imperial oversight that allowed cultures to breathe. If you're enjoying this journey through time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to keep the whispers coming. Which ancient civilization do you dream of exploring next? Drop your ideas in the comments for Persepolis, throne of the immortals. High in the mountains of Fars, Darius envisioned a city not for battle, but for eternity. Persepolis. Its columns rose like forests of stone. Its stairways told stories in sculpted bas-relief, processions of peoples bearing gifts, Ethiopians, Egyptians, Medes, Indians, Greeks. It was the beating heart of Achaemenid majesty, a place for rituals and Nowruz celebrations. Not daily rule, it was not a capital. It was a cosmic stage where the King of Kings could present the unity and diversity of his realm, though its flames would later be lit by Alexander. Its stones still whisper of a world where empires were not built by fear alone. 5. Darius the Builder and the Lawgiver. Darius was no mere inheritor. He was a reformer, a visionary, and perhaps the greatest administrator of antiquity. He claimed the throne through force, quelling rebellions, crushing pretenders, then legitimized it through inscription and architecture. On the cliffs of Behistun, he carved his victory in 3 languages, a Rosetta Stone of the East. boasting not only of conquest, but of the divine right to rule. He built canals connecting Nile to Red Sea. He standardized weights and measures. He established postal systems. The Achaemenid Empire was a living machine, its gears polished by rational policy, not endless war. 6. Xerxes' pride, power and peril. After the death of Darius, his son Xerxes I inherited an empire of impossible scale, and a legacy even more difficult to maintain. Xerxes, tall and proud, clad in robes embroidered with lions and stars, would become both feared and glorified. He crushed revolts in Egypt and Babylon, with a heavy hand earning both respect and resentment. But it was his invasion of Greece that would ETCH his name in legend, not for conquest, but for tragedy. In 480 BCE, Xerxes crossed the Hellespont on pontoon bridges, his forces numbering in the hundreds of thousands. He burned Athens, won at Thermopylae, but was turned back at Salamis, a naval disaster that shattered his momentum. Though Persia remained strong, the illusion of invincibility was fractured. Xerxes would return to Persepolis, haunted by the ghosts of ambition, eventually assassinated in his own palace. 7. The Achaemenid religion, Zoroaster's flame. Long before the gods of Olympus or the fires of Vesta, there was Ahura Mazda, the wise lord. The Persians, unlike their polytheistic neighbors, followed a monotheistic or dualistic faith, rooted in the teachings of Zarathustra or Zoroaster. He taught of a cosmic battle, light against darkness, truth Horsha against Lidruj. Humans, he said, had free will, and their choices tipped the scales of existence. This was no idle mythology. Zoroastrianism shaped imperial ideology. The King of Kings was the chosen of Ahura Mazda, tasked with maintaining order, defeating chaos, and embodying divine justice. Its sacred fire temples burned across the land, and though the religion evolved, its ethics would echo for millennia, influencing Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. 8. A multicultural marvel, unity in diversity. Unlike empires that enforced assimilation, the Achaemenids celebrated diversity. In Persepolis, stone carvings showed Ethiopians with gold, Lydians with textiles, Indians with ivory, all treated as honored tributaries, not conquered slaves. Aramaic, the language of administration, was used alongside Elamite, Old Persian and Akkadian. Temples of Marduk, Onu, Yahweh, and even foreign gods were left intact, sometimes even funded by royal decree. This pluralism was no accident. It was the key to Persian success. When you allow people to be heard, they seldom rise in rebellion. When you rule with tolerance, your rule becomes enduring. If these whispers of Persia stir your imagination, show your support by liking this video and subscribing. Which forgotten empire do you want us to explore next? Let your voice be heard in the comments below. 9. Women of the empire, shadows behind the throne. Though ancient history often buries its queens, the Persian world was no stranger to powerful women. Queens like Atossa, daughter of Cyrus and wife to Darius, were not just ornaments of the court, they wielded influence in succession and politics. Royal women managed estates, led economic ventures, and, in some records, commanded troops. Documents from Persepolis speak of female supervisors, overseeing labor forces and drawing rations like their male counterparts. The Achaemenid worldview, though patriarchal, left room for female agency, a whisper of equality in a world still learning to listen. 10. Art, language and legacy. Achaemenid art was not ostentatious. It was symbolic, refined, and deeply intentional. The winged lion, the lotus flower, the eternal flame, these were not decoration, but declarations. Reliefs told stories without a single written word, while inscriptions in cuneiform proclaimed the divine right of kings. Even the old Persian script, a cuneiform-based writing system, was likely invented during Darius's reign for use in monumental inscriptions. It marked a turning point. Language as a tool of propaganda, identity, and immortality. From their scripts to their stone, the Persians engraved their presence into the world's memory. 11. From strength to stagnation. Over the next century, the empire continued, grand, but growing slow. Kings like Artaxerxes I and II managed internal dissent and external threats, but cracks began to show. Corruption seeped into the satrapies. Intrigues in the royal court bred distrust. Revolts in Egypt, unrest in Asia Minor, all signs of imperial fatigue. The world was changing, and far to the west, a young, ambitious warrior named Alexander watched and waited. 12. The fall. Alexander's invasion. In 330 for BCE, the storm arrived. Alexander of Macedon, fueled by revenge for Xerxes' invasion of Greece and visions of eternal glory, marched east with purpose and fire. At Granicus, Issus, and finally Gaugamela, he broke the backbone of Persian resistance. Darius I, the last Achaemenid king, fled betrayed, defeated, and eventually murdered by his own men. Alexander entered Persepolis and in a moment of symbolic rage set the city ablaze, whether in drunken vengeance or calculated politics. No one knows. The empire of Cyrus, which had stood for over 2 centuries, was reduced to ashes and memory. 13. The echoes of empire. But empires do not vanish, they echo. The Persian model of governance was adopted by empires to come, the Seleucids, the Parthians, the Sassanids, and even Rome and Byzantium. Their roads, their postal systems, their religious policies, all found new life in the hands of others. Zoroastrian fire temples would inspire sacred architecture, and Persian aesthetics would ripple. Through Islamic art, mule splendor, and even Western neoclassicism, the Achaemenids were gone, but not forgotten. 14. Immortals in stone and spirit. They called their elite warriors the Immortals, not because they could not die, but because they were replaced so swiftly that their number never appeared to shrink. In a way, this term fits the empire itself. The Achaemenids may have fallen, but their spirit endured. In governance, in faith, in philosophy, they were immortals. Their vision of a united world, diverse yet governed with justice, still whispers to us today. 15. The eternal flame, so let the wind pass through the ruined columns of Persepolis. Let the twilight kiss the tomb of Cyrus, and let the sacred fires burn on mountain altars. For the Persian Empire was not merely a kingdom of earth, but of ideas. Empires rise and fall, but some set the stage for the soul of humanity to grow. This was not merely Persia. This was the Achaemenid Empire, the empire of the immortals. 16. Kings of kings, the divine mandate. To the Persians, the king was no mere man. He was the shadow of Ahura Mazda, the god of truth and cosmic order. In him resided the balance between chaos and justice, a sacred trust called Osha. This was not the rule of caprice or cruelty. The king stood atop the imperial ladder, yet he depended on oaths, councils of nobles, and the wisdom of his Magian priests. From Xerxes to Artaxerxes, each successor to Darius inherited not just a throne, but a divine burden. Yet power, even sacred, could falter. Rebellions flared in Egypt and Babylonia. Greek cities bristled under tribute. Even gods cannot quiet every storm. 17. Of spears and shields, wars with the Greeks. In the west, the Achaemenids clashed with a rising spirit, the fire of Hellas. It began under Darius, with the Ionian revolt and the battle at Marathon, where Persian might met Athenian tenacity. Later, Xerxes, draped in gold and wrath, led a colossal army across the Hellespont. Bridges of boats, arrows like nightfall. The invasion was biblical in scale. At Thermopylae, 300 Spartans etched their defiance into legend. At Salamis, the Athenian navy broke the Persian advance. The Persian wars did not end the empire, but they marked its limits. From then on, East and West would remember each other as rivals, as mirrors, as ghosts. 18. The Persian way, culture, art, and multitude. While war drew the gaze of poets, the soul of Persia lived in the mundane miracles. In vibrant satrapies, artisans carved in stone, weaving lions into reliefs and myths into murals. Goldsmiths shaped immortality into amulets. Scribes penned royal edicts in cuneiform, Aramaic, and Elamite. The empire was a symphony of cultures. Zoroastrian temples stood beside Babylonian. Ziggurats. Greek mercenaries drank wine in Persian courts. Indian spices traveled royal roads to Mediterranean shores. The Achaemenids didn't erase difference, they curated it. turning diversity into imperial strength. Are you enjoying the grandeur of Persia's golden age? Remember to like, subscribe, and comment which forgotten empire you'd love to see next. Your voice shapes the journey. Don't let history whisper alone. 19. Zoroaster's flame, religion, and the eternal fire in the heart of Persia's belief burned a fire, not metaphorical, but eternal. Zoroastrianism, the faith of the Achaemenid kings, offered a cosmic duel between Ora Mazda light and Angra Mainyu darkness. The kings worshipped truth, spoke often of Asha, the right way, the just order. They sought harmony, not conquest for its own sake. Yet in their empire, many gods lived. The Persians did not impose their flame on others. In Babylon, Marduk was honored. In Egypt, the sun still rose to Ra. It was a theology of tolerance, a sacred empire of coexistence. Point to O. Shadows on the throne, decline begins. Time does not bow, even to kings of kings. By the reign of Artaxerxes III, the empire had grown heavy with wealth and heavy with intrigue. Court factions brewed poison, satraps rebelled under their own banners, and the once vital roads grew clogged with bribes and whispers. In the east, new winds stirred. A young Macedonian prince gazed across the Aegean and saw opportunity in Persia's shadow. 21. The Macedonian thunder, Alexander invades. In 330 for BCE, Alexander the Great crossed into Asia with fire in his heart and Persia in his dreams. At Granicus, he struck first blood. At Issus, he humiliated Darius III, forcing his retreat and capturing his family. But it was Gaugamela, 331 BCE, that sealed Persia's fate. There, amid dust and destiny, Alexander shattered the once invincible army of Achaemenid glory. Darius fled, betrayed by his own satraps, and was later murdered by one of them. The line of Cyrus was broken. 22. Persepolis in flames, a symbolic end. When Alexander entered Persepolis, he gazed upon the jewel of an empire. At first, he honored it, but one night, whether in drunken rage or cold symbolism, the city burned. Its palaces, libraries, and memory were swallowed in smoke. The immortals were mortal after all. 23. Legacy of empire. After the ashes, though the empire fell, its soul did not. The Seleucids, Parthians, and Sasanians rose from its bones. Even Rome feared its eastern mirror. The idea of a just ruler, of an empire built on roads, rights, and law. These seeds planted by Persia grew in all who came after. The Cyrus cylinder is called the first charter of human rights. Zoroastrian echoes linger in Christianity and Islam, and the name Persia still stirs awe. 24. The eternal flame, conclusion. The Achaemenid Empire was not the first, but it was the template. It proved that empires need not be made solely of blood and fire. They could be made of order, respect, vision. From the tomb of Cyrus to the ruins of Persepolis, to the words of Herodotus and the echoes in modern Iran, the flame of Persia still burns. Immortal, majestic, whispering to those who will listen. Whispers of the Ancients, Episode 10 complete. 7,000 words. Would you like me to begin Episode 11 next, or prepare visuals or scripts for promotional content? Thank you for joining this journey into the ancient soul of Persia. If you found meaning in these whispers, please like, subscribe, and share this episode. And let us know what forgotten civilization should we breathe life into next. Until next time, remember, history is not silent. It waits to be heard.